Hello and good afternoon. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. With this inspiring quote, let us begin with the session. That is, an alumni talk, where we have our guest, Sparsh Saha, who is a software engineer too at Microsoft, who will brief us through his journey. Furthermore, the viewers will have a chance to clarify all their doubts. To begin with, Sparsh, I would like to cordially ask you to share your experience from being a fresher in VIT to being a software engineer too at Microsoft.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. So I I studied in VIT between 2015 and 19, and my discipline was BTech in computer science. I basically started off in 2015 and I graduated in 2019. So talking about my experience, I got in an internship at Microsoft in my third year. And Microsoft, I remember vividly, Microsoft basically came to our campus. There were some 1,400 people, if I'm not wrong, who were appearing in that first online exam. Uh, and after that online exam, I mean, there was some around, I don't know, maybe 100, people who were selected. And then we had the personal interview rounds, or which is known as P2P also. So in P2P rounds, some recruiters from Microsoft came to our campus. So it was, I think, VIT Chennai, where they came in, and people from Vellore and other nearby colleges are also there. So in that, I mean, there are multiple rounds in that P2P. So uh, the first round basically was like a, like there was a bench where there were six people. So you were divided in groups of six, and then you were given a really long question to solve regarding linked list. And then I think from each bench maybe one or two person were selected. So it's basically from every group of six, maybe one or two, depending on how you performed, were selected. And moving on from that, we had three P2P rounds with three separate levels of engineers. So like there are different levels of engineers. First we would say SDE1, that's entry level that you start off with. Then we go on to an SD2, and then senior software engineer. Then you go on to principal, and then maybe you become a manager. So that's a different thing. But first round that I faced, it was like a complete DSA, fully DSA based round, and it was, I think, taken by an SD2. So there were, I think, two DSA questions and some questions related to DBMS, OS, some basic stuff. So moving on from that round, we had a second round, but that was with the senior engineer. Um, that round was not completely DSA; it was sort of DSA, and there were some other core concepts of Java, like exception handling and stuff like that, right? And after that round, there was a third round, and that was with a very senior person. So you could say like a principal level engineer or a manager. And that round that I mean, the question that I was asked, it was purely like a very real world scenario that I had to solve. It was related to some website, and then like website visits, and then probability. It involved DSA as well. There was a fair bit of DSA in that question. And then I guess the interview was over. So it lasted, I think we started off at 8 in the morning, and when I went back home after all the interviews, it was around 8 in the evening. So it was a really like a long and hectic process. Most of the interview processes that you will come across very soon in your lives, I guess, you will see that they're very grueling and very long, very tiring as well. So after that, I mean, I went back home. Next morning, there was a mail from some of the folks at Microsoft that I was selected for the internship. So mind you, this is my third year, and at the end of my third year, I did the internship. Not at the end, actually. In my, if I'm not wrong, in my fifth semester, I did the internship. The internship was at Microsoft Bangalore. So I was working on a product called Microsoft Teams. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. It's a like a collaboration software. So I worked on the desktop and the web part. on the front end basically. So I did an internship for 2 months. Mostly it was completely like you have to write code on the product and then learn first the tech stack and then contribute. And it was a very fun experience, I would say. And at the end of the internship, there was a I mean, we generally, what will happen after internships is, generally companies will keep another round of reviews, I mean interviews. So there you might have one round or two round depending on your performance during the internship. So if you have one round, it will mostly be like your project, like what you did and all that stuff. But if you have two rounds, the first round will be purely DSA, and the second round would be basically your, like, mm, things about your project, like what you did during the internship period. But for us, I think I mean, from starting from my year, this structure was changed at Microsoft. So we were selected solely on the basis of how we performed during the internship. So essentially, there were no interviews. So on the last day of our internship, like, we were waiting, there were parties, and suddenly we got a mail from the HR that, okay, you guys have got a PPO. So those people who got a PPO, they were directly selected. I mean, for a full-time offer at Microsoft. I fortunately, I was one of the people who got a PPO, and then I came back to college, did my college, and did my seventh semester, I think. And on the eighth semester, we had an option to either do a project or then go back to doing an internship. So I had a discussion with some of the folks at Microsoft, and they were ready to offer me a 5-month internship. And I came back again on my last semester and did a 5-month internship with Microsoft again. It was a different team this time around, but essentially, mostly it was a similar experience, just a bit longer. Um, so yeah, so that's my experience in short. That's how I got selected. So basically, it was through internship and then PPO. Yeah.
Wow, what an amazing and inspiring journey. Now, I would like to proceed to the interactive session. I request all the viewers to kindly post the questions in the chat box. Meanwhile, Sparsh, I would like to ask you if you have any advice that you would like to give to the fellow juniors to get the best placements out of the rest.
Yeah, I mean, as you already know, most of you already know that one of the primary factors that companies look for when hiring a fresher specifically is how well you are in DSA. And there is no two ways about it. You have to practice DSA, right? Because that is one of the most, what should I say? It's one of the most sought after thing for companies, for a fresher, mind you. As you grow in experience, there are other factors which come in, which is framework knowledge, how much you know about front end or back end, whatever you're working on, maybe ML or AI. uh, but for a fresher, the primary focus will always be on DSA. So
Mhm.
I would urge all of you guys to take some time out from your day, practice DSA properly. At least I would say at least 4 to 5 questions every day if you can practice. Maybe 2 questions per day. That's also okay. But just keep it in practice and go through the core concepts properly. Don't skip anything. Uh, I mean, maps, trees, then linked list, all these commonly known topics, right? These are the topics from where most of the questions come. So just keep on practicing.
Hmm. So
Yeah,
basically, consistency is a key, right?
absolutely. Consistency is the key, and I mean, uh, you should do projects as well. That's a thing. It's not like you can only do DSA, and uh, I mean, though it's okay to do DSA, you still get placed. But when you come into this software engineering world, right, it's very different from what we go through in college or what we study in college. So it's a completely different ball game. So
Hmm.
having some basic knowledge about some of the basic frameworks out there, or what is front end, what is back end, some basic stuff, right? If you do projects on that, it will be really helpful for you to move on very fast once you join up.
Okay. We have a question. Do you think only college studies are sufficient to get placements?
um, if you ask me only college studies, I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, college studies are important as well. I mean, most of I've seen this during my time as well. Many of us think that, okay, I am practicing DSA, I'm learning ML AI, this would be sufficient for me to get a good placement, right? Because college studies are okay. I mean, I'm doing it, but you know but I would tell you that most of the questions, that as far as I have seen or heard from my friends as well, most of the questions during placement interviews will come from your core subjects like OSTBMS. So it's very important that you go through them as well. But are they sufficient? Are only college studies sufficient? I would say no. You have to expand your horizon, because as you know, it's a very fast moving world. I mean, what we learned, like what I learned, I graduated 3 years back around. What I learned 3 years back, you guys, I'm sure you guys know much more than me, because that's how the trajectory is. You have to keep on evolving. So I mean, keep your eye out. Choose a topic that you like. Choose a I mean, maybe someone likes Android development, someone likes web, someone likes ML AI, whatever. Keep some projects on that topics, and by keep, I mean keep it somewhere people can see, like GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
So some open source stuff as well if you can, but GitHub is very important. So just try to make commits there. Keep your projects there, it will be really helpful.
All right. Uh, we have questions from our club members as well.
Okay.
They're asking, were you in your tenure in VIT, were you also a part of a club? And if yes, then did it like help you in your future?
Yeah, so I was in VIT Chennai's Android Club. So I was the club coordinator as well, I think on my third year. And second year, I was just a member. And yes, it did help me a lot. So we, I mean, one of my primary interests during college days, at least during the initial days um, of my college, was Android development or mobile development in general. I started with Android. So as you know, I mean, you can make Android apps or you can make iOS apps, right? So I was in
Mhm.
the Android club. Um, it was uh, it was helpful. I mean, not what you. It's not about what you are taught there. It's about the process, right? Because it's about getting started, because a club can only help you to get started. You cannot think that I will join a club. Let's say I will join a web dev club, and at the end of 1 year or 2 years I will come out as a web dev champion. That's not how it works. The or I mean, the essential part of a club is that it will get you help you get started. So I would say find a club. I think club joining a club is like mandatory in VIT, right? If I'm not wrong.
So it's basically, if people want to join, there are various technical clubs and various cultural clubs as well.
Okay.
So people generally take part in that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I was there, it was compulsory for us, and I think it's a very, very useful process that our college has put in place. So you should definitely join a club. Try it out, whatever club you want, whatever you feel interested in, join,
Hmm.
and it's very helpful. Yeah.
All right. So we have a question from Sparsh Raj. How much CGPA is sufficient for getting placed in the MNCs?
Okay. So I'll tell you what. This is an interesting question. Thanks for asking this. A very important question. So when you have your placements, right? Generally, companies will come in with a 7 CGPA requirement. So most companies will tell you, most companies, some come with 8 as well, some come with 6 as well, but generally it's 7 to 8, somewhere between 7 to 8. So their companies will tell you that any people, any student who has a CGPA above this, let's say 7.5, right, can sit in placements, right? But then generally they will have a cap of how many people they will interview as well. So let's say a company comes in and says anyone above 7.5 CGPA can sit for placements in my company, right? Sit for interviews. But they'll say that I will not. maybe I'll try to interview only 200 people. But that gap, right? Anyone above 7.5. So there may be 400 people who are above 7.5. So what happens in that case is sometimes there might be like I mean, the people who are selected might be selected on the basis of higher CGPA, though the minimum requirement is 7.5. But you would see that the last person to be selected for the interviews maybe has a 8.5 CGPA because of the constraint in the total number,
Mhm.
right? So CGPA is, initially when we just join college, we hear it from here and there that CGPA, okay, CGPA is important, but not that much focus on your skills. But I would say CGPA is very important. So at least try to keep a CGPA of above 8.5. If you are above 8.5, from what I have seen, mostly you will be good. You will be able to sit in any company you want. Yeah, the higher the better, but 8.5 should be the thing that you should minimum CGPA that you should target.
All right. One more question. If you like have a chance to go back to your first year, what is the one thing that you like to do that you didn't do uh,
Hmm.
when you were?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I mean, first year, it was my, I'll tell you, I was born and brought up in Kolkata. And then I moved to Chennai for my college. And I was, during my first semester, I was very homesick. And, like I was homesick, but I did all the studies properly and all that. Everything was good. My CAT scores were good. Like assignments were good. All the things were good. But during the exam, right? I think we had our exams on December, and right after the exams, we had a chance to go home for one
Mhm.
month. So I was so focused on going home that somehow like did not do as well as I should have on the exams. I was so focused on going home. So that kind of got my CGPA a little bit, I mean, below 9, but I would have scored 9 depending, based on what kind of assignments I did, what scores I got in CATs and all that. So I would say I would like to change that if I could go back. And as per my suggestions, I would tell you that, focus on the job. Once it's done, you can do whatever you want, but always focus on the job on
Yeah.
that hand. Yeah.
Yes. That really makes sense. Now we have a question from Tanisha. How has VIT helped you in your all-round development?
Okay, that's a very broad question, but I'll try to answer it. uh, so from what I have seen, I have many friends from different colleges, right? Maybe tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 colleges as well. So the difference that VIT makes, we maybe they're taught the same subjects, right?
Mhm.
They're taught the same subjects and all that, but the difference that VIT has made in my life, I think, is the process. VIT mostly does a very good job of giving you a process. The process at VIT, like keeping you under pressure, that you have to do 2 assignments per semester and 1 project per subject. So what this does is it helps you cope with the pressure once you go into the working world. Once you
Mhm.
join a company, there will be pressure. There will be some deadlines. It varies from company to company, but in general, there will always be deadlines. So what VIT does well is it puts you in the pressure very early on, and that will really help you if you can like run along with VIT, because VIT, they don't walk, they run. So if you learn to run in VIT, then you will be very good. You will be set for the next phase of your career. So yes, VIT, I think it has helped in my all round development.
Yeah. So, as you said that CGPA, the sufficient CGPA to keep is 8.5 plus for the multinational corporations. So,
Mhm.
is it the same case for internship as well? Like, do we need a particular specific CGPA to keep to land a good internship?
So I think Microsoft was the only company who came to our college for internships. No, it was not the only company, but it was one of the first companies. So in that particular instance, I did not see a CGPA cap. I did not see a CGPA cap. It was 7, which is basic. 7 is
Okay.
always there. So it was 7, and I think all of us were allowed. So what the good thing about that is, I think around maybe 1,500 people in total sat for the online exam, which was online. So it was in a like a website like HackerRank. So after that, the filtration process was, I mean, intense, because right from 1,500 it was around maybe 100 or something. So there was no
Mhm.
cap. It was just a 7 CGPA cap. But then again, it's always better to keep a good CGPA. I will keep saying this. It's very important.
Yes, yes. So we have a question from Himakshi. Which website is the most relevant for practicing DSA questions? Like you established that DSA practicing is very, very important. So
Hmm.
what website did you use, or
Okay.
is the general thing?
Okay. So I was not into competitive coding. So if you are into competitive coding, you already know where to go. So it's Code Forces and other websites like that. So I was not into competitive coding, but I used mostly Geeks for Geeks
Hmm.
for practicing DSA, because I think with DSA, it's not about, some people will say that I can't do DSA. That's a wrong way of approach, because no one can do DSA. It's just practice. There is no thing like somebody wakes up one morning and they can solve map questions easily. Right? It's not like that.
Hmm.
So it's all about practice. So you have to keep on practicing. And as far as websites are concerned, I would say Geeks for Geeks, and then Lead Code is
Hmm.
another very important website. And there is another subscription. I mean, you have to take subscription for that website, but it's called Algo Expert. So it's by Clement. I think it's also very good. It's very good in the sense that it does a very good job of compiling all the problems. So if you just go through the list, there are I think 140 coding questions. If you go through the list, uh, you can be sure that out of 10 companies, you will get exact same questions in 9 companies, or similar questions. So
All
it's a
right.
very good.
Okay.
It's Algo Expert, algoexpert.io. Maybe check it out.
All right. Thank you so much. We have a question from Nandika. What is more important in your opinion, the CGPA or the skill?
Okay, I was expecting this question. So it's like saying what is more important, batting or bowling. It doesn't work like that. You need both. I mean, at the end of the day, our goal is to uh, graduate properly, maybe do masters for those who want to do masters, or land a good job for those who want to come into this like engineering board, right? So that's the ultimate goal. And CGPA and skill both will help you achieve that. Neither one can, I mean, if you just have CGPA, yes, as I said, you will be sitting in interviews, maybe you'll sit in all the interviews. But if you have zero skill, like if you have 10 CGPA and zero skill, you might fail in the interviews. Or even if you pass the interviews, once you come into the real world, it will be really tough for you for the initial days, right? But if you have very low CGPA and only skill, then it doesn't matter, because you are not even able to sit for the interviews, right? So
Hmm.
it's important to strike a balance between two. As I said, aim for 8.5 plus always, and also try to develop your skills. I mean, do projects, learn whatever you want to. And I mean, there should be proof of what you learn. So when I say that I have this skill, what is the proof? Your proof is the project in your, maybe in your GitHub or wherever, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, keep that in mind. Both are equally important, I would say.
All right. Another one is how is your overall experience working in Microsoft?
Okay,
Like,
so yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying that it's considered to be a dream company for many of the aspirants. So how is it like being like working for Microsoft?
So I mean, Microsoft is a great company in the sense that there is brilliant work-life balance.
Hmm.
So I have only worked in Microsoft. I have been here for 3 years after graduating, so I can't really speak about other companies. But from what I have heard from my friends, right? Uh, Mostly startups will, mm, I mean, it will be difficult, a little bit difficult to maintain work and work life balance in startups. In most startups, there are good startups as well. But in most like small scale startups, it will be difficult to maintain good, good work life balance. But Microsoft and most of the MNCs are really good with that. And it really depends on the team and product that you're working on, how much you get to learn, because learning is important in your initial days of your career, right? So
Yeah.
for me, at least, working in the product that I am working in, it's brilliant. And the work life balance is great, and the learning is also very nice for me. So I would say it's what you would call an ideal place to work in. Yeah, and there are multiple perks. I'll not go into those details, but there are multiple perks as well, more than you can imagine. Gifts, this, that, many things. But the primary thing is what you learn, and that's there.
All right. So we have a question from Soumyadeep. According to you, what is the most important tech application which a student must have in himself or herself?
Okay, I am not sure I understand the question. Tech application, I don't
Tech
understand.
tech skill, basically, in that sense, I think.
Oh, okay. Um, right. I think if you want me to point out one, it would be debugging.
All
uh,
right.
we That is one of the most important things, that we don't know this in college, but once you come into the the real world, you will see this. Debugging is like 90% of your entire time you debug code, because mostly will join a team where there is an existing code base, right? You will not start to write everything from scratch. So debugging is one of the most important skills that you can have.
Yeah, makes sense. So we have a question. Do you think VIT was an instrument in reaching your goal?
Um, sure. I mean, I got the internship through on-campus placements, right? So
All
definitely.
right.
And if you considering the broader aspect, yes, as I said, the process. VIT put me through a process which got me
Mhm.
started, and that start is important, because uh, most of your friends from other colleges, maybe tier three colleges, you will see that they don't get that start. So they realize at the end of their third year that I need to pick up my skills and then do this and do that, practice DSA. But by that time, it's already too late. So VIT
Mm.
gives you that process, and definitely, I think VIT was very important.
So VIT as a whole had a positive impact in shaping your career towards Microsoft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Mhm.
So we have a question from Nandika. Does being a Division One coder in Code Chef really help you cracking jobs in the big companies like Microsoft?
Directly, I mean, if you are a Division One coder in CodeChef, that means it's given that you have a good grip on DSA and algorithms, right? So in that way it will, but because you are a Division One coder in CodeChef, you will not have any advantage in terms of the interview process, I would say. But it's
All
because of
right.
his skill that it will be easy for you to get through. Yes, but not for my. I'm speaking only for Microsoft here. I know there are certain companies which will directly hire from this this coding competitions, right? If you come first or second, maybe Google will hire you, or there are some other companies that will. But Microsoft, from what I have seen, from my experience, um, it's not a direct hiring. So you have to go through the interviews. But yeah, it will be easier for you if you are good with the DSA stuff. Yes.
All right. We have a question from Ashwin. How did you manage Microsoft internship as well as your college studies?
Uh, Actually, I didn't, because I did the Microsoft 2-month internship during my break. I think summer break, right?
Mhm.
So it was my sorry, sixth semester. I think after my sixth semester, we generally do the internship, right? If I'm not wrong. Yeah. So there was a 2-month summer break where I did the internship. So there was no study at that point of time. And during my 5-month internship, it was either project or internship. So there were no courses. I had already completed my 180 credits by then. 20 credit what was left for this internship thing. But so I did not have to take up any courses. So I didn't really have that dilemma of managing studies with internship. But I mean, if some of you um, are facing that scenario, right, where you have to manage studies and internship as well, you have to do it. That's the thing, because internship is very, very important. You have to do one internship, not just to complete your like your course, but to get an idea of what to expect when you come out after 4 years, right? So I think that's really important. I know it's hard, but if some of you are going through this, we have to manage both the things together. You have to do it. There's no two ways about it.
All right. So we have a question from Mansi. What are your future plans?
Okay, so my future plans, I don't have any like plan for any MS or higher education.
Hmm.
So I would like to like I would like to you know go ahead in the market and learn new skills, keep on learning. So my future plans would be to I don't know, just to probably get promoted, learn more, and yeah, I have a plan of settling or not settling, at least going to some other country, like maybe some European country or US, and work there for a bit, just to experience the culture and
Hmm.
what kind of environment exists over there. So if you that might be my immediate future plan. Yes.
All right. What kind of placement support does VIT offer?
Okay. Um, so I think VIT's placement cell is pretty good. Um, at least from what I have seen, you have this soft skill classes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is one of the things that is there, and it's important for certain companies, because some companies will ask you this aptitude things and all that, which are basically taught in the soft skill classes. But at least for me or Microsoft or any other MNC that I have heard of, they generally do not ask this question. But generally, it could be that they ask sometimes, but generally they don't.
Okay.
um, so that soft skills is one of the things that VIT helps you with. And then bringing, most importantly, they bring companies for on-campus placements, right? So I think VIT has a very well-rounded placement program. If you go through them and if you have developed skills and if you have worked on your DSA skills as well for 4 years, at the end of 4 years, you should be good.
All right.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Nama. How was your experience during your internship in Microsoft?
Okay, that's a good question. So, I mean, I came out of VIT and I did not have any like professional work experience until that internship, right? So
Hmm.
when I came in, the first thing that happens is you will actually learn to write code when you come to companies. What generally, when we write code, all of us write code, right? When we write code in college, we use like a structure which is not very structured. When the name, so we will say, let's say INTA, no one knows what A is, and then we will say INT temp, right? We will use these things. But the primary thing that I learned during the very first days of my internship is how to write structured code, or how you should make your code more readable for people, right?
Hmm.
That's what I learned in my initial days. And then uh, the other part of the experience was good. I mean, at Microsoft, you have this pool table tennis, Xbox. So you can have fun when you like interns. Generally, they come in groups and they have a lot of fun and they learn as well. So it was a very nice experience. It was not always work, work, work. There was fun as well. There were some parties as well from organized by Microsoft for the interns. Yeah, but it was a very eventful experience. I would say one of the best experiences of my life during that internship. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Kartike asks, what your biggest lesson from college?
Okay. Okay. That's a tough question. Biggest lesson from college. I think the biggest lesson that I learned from college is you have to work hard.
Hmm.
Uh, because because it's because the sheer amount of competition that you will face. If you see, even within VIT, there are so many people competing for that one spot in a company, right? So
Yeah.
it's the only way that you can really excel or shine is by working hard. Doing this, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can do the same stuff every day, and then you have to keep doing it because that's the way it is. So
Hmm.
working hard and consistency are one of the top things that I learned during my college days.
All right. A lot of students also have this question that uh, does VIT only offer placements to the students who are only interested in placements, or the students that also want to pursue higher education, can they also sit for placements and you know just select from the best?
Okay. So there was no official, I mean, there was no official statement from VIT on this during, at least during my time. But from what I have heard, if you're selected in a super dream company, right? I don't think you're allowed to drop that offer. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think I'm the best person to answer this question. You should talk to your placement coordinator, maybe. But
All right.
that's what I heard. I might be wrong, but that's what I heard.
All right. So, as you probably know, that Gravitas is the biggest tech fest in VIT.
Yeah.
So, what are your views on that, on Gravitas?
Okay. So I think I've been to Gravitas once because I was from VIT Chennai, and there was a tech fest. I think Gravitas is a tech fest, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
a tech
So there
fest.
was a Techno VIT tech fest, which is basically the tech fest for Chennai campus. So I went there. I did. I mean, I participated during my second year. I think third year, second year, first year, on some
Mhm.
of the tech talks or courses or maybe workshops, I would say, that used to happen. And during my third year, there are a bunch of workshops that I took as well. So I think it's good. The culture is good because at the end of the day, it comes down to culture, and I think VIT offers us that. It's good. You should try and participate in maybe some events, tech-based events, and there are a lot to learn because mostly your seniors will come in and they will talk about things and they will teach you some things. So I think it's pretty good. So it's a good fest, I would say.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
Uh, so people also, Surya is asking, is UG students also have internship and placements opportunity in VIT?
Uh, by UG, you mean BTech?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did BTech, so definitely you have internship. So it's
Mhm.
for UG, PG, everybody. So MTech, there are MTech students as well at VIT, right? So
Mhm.
they also get placement opportunities. There are MCA, BCA students who also get placement opportunities, and even BTech folks. So it's for everyone, I guess, as far as I know.
All right. So there are a lot of people in the club that do club work like co-curricular activities with that. So they want to ask you how you managed studies, then an internship with the co-curricular activities surrounded by you.
Okay, so I am I was a like a last minute person. I would study last minute always for the exams, right? I don't recommend it, but that's what I did. So I used to study maybe a week or 10 days before exams, and mostly during the exam time. And the remaining time, I mostly develop projects. I was a big fan of doing projects, so I have done multiple projects during my 4 years at VIT, and they are all on my GitHub profile.
Hmm.
So I was a very big fan of doing that. So generally, how I would do is I would mostly do projects, and then when there was an exam coming up, I would plan and start off some days before that, and then try to do as well as I could. That's what I
All
did.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, according to you, what are the favorite classes of yours in VIT that really helped you push to being placed in Microsoft, apart from DSA and the classes that you just mentioned?
Okay. Um, I would say OS was a pretty interesting subject for me, operating systems. Um, I did not I did not like DBMS much, but I studied that as well because it was important. So I think, and there was another subject. I don't know if you have that now. It's called parallel and distributed computing. So that
Okay.
was also one of the subjects which is very important for people who want to work on big data and cloud computing, stuff like that. But in general, it's a very interesting subject. So I would say OS, and then parallel and distributed computing, and DBMS. Yeah.
All right. I just want to add, guys, there is an attendance link in the chat. Kindly fill it up to mark your presence. So that will be a wrap for the interactive session. Uh, Sparsh, we also, if you want to share a memorable incident that you had in your college life, kindly share that with the viewers.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were lots of memorable incidents, but if I have to pick one, I would say there was a app long back in VIT. It's called Schedule. I guess you haven't heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I and one of my roommates, we worked on that app. We developed that Android app. It took some time. So that app was basically, like a FFCS in your hand. So it would give you your attendances and all that stuff, and show your next classes, courses, these things. So that was one of the first steps that I worked on, and then we went on to launch it. I think it's still there on Play Store, and then we went on to add some ads as well on that, the Google ad mobs, and we ended up earning some money. So it was a, like the first cash that I earned in my life. So it was
Yeah,
really nice. Yeah, it was awesome. So I would
nice.
that experience is. I mean, I still remember it. The app is still there. We we still have a page for the app on Facebook. So yeah, it was
Okay.
great.
That's a precious moment to actually get the first paycheck in college itself.
Absolutely. You won't know how much it means until you actually get it yourself. Like when your first paycheck is always special.
Yeah. So I would like to thank all the viewers to for posting the questions. I hope that you got the answers which you desired. Thank you, Sparsh, for conducting such a wonderful session. I hope that Sparsh's journey motivated all the viewers and helped clarify their doubts. Also, I would like to express gratitude to all the viewers who joined us and were actively participating in the session. Thank you to each and every one of you on behalf of Mozilla Firefox Club. Do follow us on Instagram and be updated for the upcoming events. Once again, thank you so much, Sparsh, for conducting such a lovely event. Thank you.
Thank you. And just before signing off, uh, I would like to wish you all the best, and Merry Christmas and upcoming very Happy New Year. I hope the next year brings a lot of joy to all of you. But just remember one thing. I mean, there will be failures in life, because failures are a part of the game. And most of us, I mean, we know this, but do not let failure stop you, because
Hmm.
once you go out there and you work for a company, you start working there, there will be failures every day. There will be a day when you wanted to do something, when you wanted to crack a problem, you won't be able to do it. uh, then you will go back home, you might feel a bit bad that okay, I couldn't do it, and all that stuff. But if you do not come again tomorrow with the same zeal and excitement, you will not be able to crack it. So I think it's very important to celebrate our successes, and uh, learn from our failures. So keep doing that, and if you and keep faith in yourself. If you do that, I think life will be easy. Yeah, and
Well said.
please reach, if you have any questions. I would be very happy to help out my fellow juniors. Please reach out on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Just reach out there, and any questions you have, I'll be glad to answer. Good luck.
All right. Thank you so much, Sparsh, for conducting such a lovely event. And we wish you all the best for your future endeavors as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.